Madam City Clerk, are we ready?
Yes, Mayor. This is Zoe Burgess, your city clerk. This regular city council meeting of July 5th is being held with a quorum of City of Westlake Council physically in attendance at the Westlake Council Chambers, 4005 Seminole Pratt Whitney Road. Public comments may be accepted prior to the meeting utilizing the electronic comment card available on the city's website. Public comments are also permitted at the appropriate time during the meeting. The mayor will call for such during public comment, and you may participate at this time utilizing the system's virtual hand feature and waiting to be acknowledged. Please note this meeting is being recorded, both voice and video, and to remember your mic may be live. I will mute any microphones that carry any feedback or interruptions. If you are a caller that has been muted, you may unmute yourself by pressing *6. Any person in the virtual meeting causing a disruption or being inappropriate will be removed. If I may also remind those physically in attendance, please utilize microphones so that the virtual audience and a clear recording of the meeting is produced. Thank you. Mayor O'Connor.
Thank you. I'd like to call to order the regular City Council meeting of July 5th, 2022 at 6:01 p.m. I trust everyone had a wonderful holiday weekend, and thank you for being here. May we have roll call, please?
Councilwoman Leonard.
Present.
Councilman Martinez.
Present.
Councilwoman Valley-Ron.
Present.
Vice Mayor Langowski.
Present.
Mayor O'Connor.
Present.
We have a quorum.
Please stand and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Do we have any additions, deletions, modifications to the agenda?
No, Mayor.
If none, may I have a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Vice Mayor Langowski, seconded by Councilwoman Valley-Ron. Roll call. Councilwoman Leonard.
Yes.
Councilman Martinez.
Yes.
Councilwoman Valley-Ron.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Langowski.
Yes.
Mayor O'Connor.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
Excellent. Public comments and requests. This section of the agenda allows for comments from the public to speak. Each speaker will be given a total of 3 minutes to comment. A public comment card should be completed and returned to the city clerk. When you are called to speak, please go to the podium and unmute your device. Prior to addressing the council, state your name and address for the record. Do we have any public comments?
Mayor, we have a public comment from Connie Gray here in the audience. Ms. Gray, if you'll come to the podium, please state your name and your address.
Hi, Ms. Gray.
My address is 16874 62nd Road North in Loxahatchee, 33470.
Excellent.
Thank you. You have 3 minutes, ma'am.
Okay, I am here today about the fireworks. It impacted my home very greatly. Not only my home, but my business. I have a livestock business here in Palm Beach County for many years. I'm licensed with the county and the state, and I'm here to express my concerns, and I'm not the only resident that has been impacted. The windows in my home shook for over 20 minutes yesterday, sorry. I've never had this. I've been out here a long time. When Minto was going to build here, they promised that they would not impact the residents out here. And I'm pretty upset about it. I don't think it's fair. You guys did not take it into consideration. All of the farms that back up to 60th. Greatly impacted. I've had losses, 2 dead birds. I'm a breeder. And like I said, I've been out here for a long time. At this particular location since 2009, before that, in another area. Fireworks out here are never that bad for us. Never. I don't think it's acceptable. And I hope that you can do something so it doesn't impact me again. Or all the people on 60th. A great impact. Not just me. And I'm sure at your future meetings, you will see other people. I've spoken to them today, and I spoke to the town manager this morning. Thank you.
Ms. Gray, I want to I want to thank you for coming in and let you know I appreciate you coming in. I hear you. We certainly want to be good neighbors. And thank you for coming in and bringing this to our attention. Thank you.
Yes, I will be at future meetings, I'm sure, with a bunch of other people.
Okay.
I just can't have this. This is my livelihood. You know, it's not fair. It's really
Understood,
not.
yeah.
I
Thank-
hope that you take that into consideration.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for coming in.
Mayor, we received no additional public comment cards. However, we'll give the virtual audience a moment to raise their virtual hand. If you are in the virtual audience, please raise your virtual hand. Please state your name and address. You will have 3 minutes. Mayor, we have no other comments.
Thank you, Madam City Clerk. Let's move on to the consent agenda. This section of the agenda consists of routine administrative items that require final approval by the City Council and may be approved in its entirety by a single motion. There will be no discussion of these items unless a council member requests such, in which event the item will be removed from the consent agenda and placed on a future agenda. Your motion to approve the consent agenda.
Motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
We have a motion to approve consent agenda by Vice Mayor Langowski, seconded by Councilwoman Leonard. Roll call, Councilman Martinez,
Yes.
Councilwoman Valiaron,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Langowski.
Yes.
Mayor O'Connor,
Yes.
Councilwoman Leonard.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving forward to presentations and proclamations. I believe we have a presentation by the Palm Beach County Commission on Ethics.
Mayor, I do not see Ms. Levesque here. We can save it till later if you wish.
Okay, let's move that down the line, assuming Ms. Levesque comes on in. Next is a public hearing, SPR 2022-01, James Business Park, Warehouse G Southwest Site Plan Review.
All those individuals going to testify during the course of this particular matter, please stand, be sworn. You solemnly swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth.
Yes.
Please proceed.
Council, has there been any ex parte communication? There's
None.
been none by myself.
None.
No.
No.
So, we have any staff presentations?
Yes, sir.
Great.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, council members, Nisa Zacharias, Planning and Zoning Director for the City of Westlake. The application that is in front of you today is from James Business Park. It's to be built in Part G, and it's a site plan review. So, Part G is located to the west side of Seminole Pratt Whitney Road, and the application is for a total of 145,643 square feet, light industrial warehouse. We'll go into the details of this application. It's for consideration today. Has two buildings, one-story buildings on the north one and on the south side another. And also, the applicant is requesting to have an outdoor storage area. So as I mentioned before, this is on Part G. Southwest is 11.66 acres, will be located in our downtown mixed use. So this is a close-up of the application. As you can see in the drawing, there are two buildings. Building 1 is on the north side and building 2 is on the south side. So as shown there, please, I would like to be clear that the applicant is proposing to build this in 2 phases. The first phase will be only building 1, and then the second phase will be building 2. At this point, staff does not know when will be building 2 or second phase. So to be clear, what is a light industrial use? So our code has a specific definition for light industrial uses. So basically it's land use that includes construction, operation, and storage facilities, manufacturing, assembly, processing, or storage of product when such activities have minimal and inoffensive external impacts such as smoke, noise, dust, soot, dirt, vibration, stench, or adverse visual impacts on the surrounding neighborhood. So that is a very specific definition, and these proposed buildings need to comply with this definition. So we also are working with the applicant. We ask them to provide possible list because it's a warehouse and it's not clear what kind of uses specifically will be there. So, and that's the list of proposed uses. Those were in the staff report that you received previously. Also, the applicant is requesting one waiver with regard to the fence height. The code says that 6 feet is the height of the fence. However, the applicant is requesting to provide 8-foot black vinyl fence with opaque slats on the rear of the building to ensure proper screening and of unsightly material. So that is one waiver that is being requested with this application. This is a photo of the fence that is part of this application. So on the rear of the building, there will be 10% of the gross building area will be dedicated to outside storage. So since this is a warehouse, the applicant is already overseeing that there might be some materials located on the outside area. So, and those will be screened by this 8-foot fence. So this is also this table is part of the staff report. This is where is very, I always call it very straightforward, yes or no, with regard to the zoning code, you know, so setbacks, height, number of parking, all of it has to be in compliance with code. So there is one condition of approval that when we go through the condition of approval is that the applicant will provide no less than 4 golf carts parking spaces.
Hold on.
So this is the building architectural elevation, and it's part of the package, and I'm sure the applicant also will go through. So the previous one was the building 1, which is on the north area, which will be built, I think, as soon as possible. This is building 2, which is part of phase 2, and at this point, I'm not sure when the applicant will build this. So the application was reviewed for landscaping compliance, was reviewed for drainage compliance, also was reviewed by Palm Beach County Fire Safety, and also for traffic compliance. So with regard to final remarks, so there are a number of things. So first of all, the applicant is requesting a waiver with regard to the height of the fence. Secondly, there are a number of conditions that I have been in contact with the applicant, and they have agreed. So I'm sure Mr. Donkin has a presentation. So number 1, prior to issuance of building permits, the location and selection of the artwork shall be approved by the City Council. So I'm very excited to report that this is our first project that will be in compliance with our Arts in Public Place code. So we'll be working toward that. Number 2, all uses must be in compliance with the code definition of light industrial uses, which that will be part of future code enforcement. It's a clear definition. Number 3, overnight storage or parking of the delivered vehicle or truck shall not be permitted on the property except within the designated areas. So number 4, Repair or maintenance of vehicles shall not be permitted on the property, excluding emergency repairs. Number 5, stacking of pots and containers are prohibited. As you recall, there was a similar application that came in front of council, and we were very specific with regard to this. So in this case, we are continuing that trend with regard to this condition. Number 6, all fencing for outdoor storage area shall not exceed 10% of gross square footage. Number 7, store material shall not exceed the height of the fence and shall not extend out from the back bay of the building no more than 60 feet. Number 8, all chain link fences shall be black vinyl coated with opaque slats. And number 9, no less than 4 golf cart parking spaces shall be provided on site. So those are that's a summary of this application. Mr. Klein, I'm thinking he has also an application.
Well, good evening, Mr. Mayor, council members. For the record, Donaldson Hearing with Kotler and Hearing here tonight on behalf of Minto PBLH, who is the property owner, and the contract purchaser, Mr. Ben Tristano, who is here this evening. So welcome, Ben, to the city of Westlake, if you would. We're very excited. He's looking at moving his e-commerce company here to the city. And is building a building which will enable him to start and then to continue to grow into the site as his business continues to expand in your city here in Westlake. As Nielsen pointed out, the site is located to the west side of Seminole Pratt Whitney. It's south of Town Center Parkway, and it's north and east of Persimmon, where Persimmon turns and connects. And it's right immediately west of your new Publix, which is taking shape right here within the city. So as Nielsen had pointed out, this is a request for a light industrial building. We're proposing 2 buildings. The first building, which will be phase 1, will be largely occupied by Mr. Tristano and his e-commerce business. He will have some space to lease out, giving him the ability to then grow into that space as his business expands. And building number 1 is 135,540 square feet. It's a light industrial building, very nicely designed, well landscaped. Building number 2 is what I would refer to as a flex building. It also could have the same uses, much smaller in size, only 10,000 square feet, likely up to 4 tenants, so it will lend itself to a variety of different type of light industrial users who might be looking for space here in the city. Nielsen mentioned that it is a second phase building. We don't know when we are going to build it, but we would anticipate trying to market those uses right away, because I would imagine that there's a lot of opportunity for smaller space here in the city, in addition to the larger space that we have. All of the parking, all of the perimeter landscaping, all of that for the entire site will be done in one phase. So literally all we will do, the second phase, the building pad will be stabilized and grassed. And whenever that building is ready to move forward, construction would begin. And then the only thing remaining to complete it would be the foundation landscaping around the building itself. As pointed out by Nielsen, this is the first project to come forth in accordance with your Art in Public Places program. And so you can see up in the hard corner, the northwest corner, where the star is, that'll be the location right at the hard corner of Persimmon and Town Center. Couldn't think of really a better location for that art. And so we'll look forward to bringing forth to you the aesthetics of what that looks like before the project comes in for building permit. But very excited. I think we've got the right location at the intersection of 2 of the most significant roadways here within our city. As pointed out by Nielsen in the staff report, the site's just a little bit over 9.2 acres. The overall plot is 11.6 acres, total 145,343 square feet. And then we have 188 parking spaces that are required by code. We exceed that. We exceed the loading requirements. We're well below the maximum floor area, and our open space exceeds the minimum requirement of the code. As pointed out by your staff, this project is 100% compliant with all of the codes and regulations and ordinances of the city of Westlake. So these are the renderings of the building that accurately reflect the proposed landscaping. Very nicely done, highly articulated buildings, color palette, complementary and compatible to what we're doing on Pod H to the south, as well as on Publix to the immediate east. A lot of glass at the corners. Just nicely done landscaping design to complement the building and the architecture. This is a rendering of the smaller building. And again, so it's just slightly smaller in scale, but certainly these tenant bays would be smaller since we have 4 tenants. So you can have a 2,500 square foot tenant. So we would think that, contractors and other similar users will probably come to the table pretty quickly on a building at this location, because there's nothing like this in Westlake, and the larger buildings are much larger spaces intended for larger tenants. And I'll go over that a little bit more when we get into the master signage program, similar to what we did with the Westlake warehouse. We'll show you how that larger building could be broken up. So this is basically what the site looks like today. You have approved the plat and the construction plans for the extension of Town Center Parkway to the west and looping around to Persimmon to the south. So this property will be bound on basically on 3 sides by roadways. So very nicely designed. The uses, as pointed out by staff, this is a representative list of potential uses. As we discussed with the Westlake Commerce Center, these types of facilities will have a variety of different types of users, but they all must comply with the definition of your code, and we will certainly would commit to that. Elevations, I think we shared those. So, but I did just quickly want to talk about the outdoor storage area. So at this particular point, we're simply making a provision for outdoor storage. We can have up to 10% of the floor area as outdoor storage. That will be totally tenant driven and specifically user specific driven. No more than 10%, we might not have any. It really just is provided there to provide flexibility. We are asking for the same waiver that you had granted for the Westlake Commerce Center, which enables us to have an 8-foot high fence, just ensures that everything inside there is fully screened. And of course, there is a condition of approval that says nothing inside the storage areas can be any higher than the 8 feet. And we are 100% in agreement with all of the conditions of approval as proposed by your staff. And with that, I won't take up any more time, but want to thank you. Mr. Tristano is here. If you have any questions for the future owner and business owner here in Westlake, he would be happy to respond to you. And thank you very much.
Thank you. I have a few questions, Mr. Tristano, if you don't mind. I guess state your name and address for the record.
My name is Ben Tristano. My address is 577 Squire Drive. in
Excellent. Thank you so much.
Sir, you've been sworn?
Yes, I raised my hand and said yes before. So,
Awesome.
okay.
Thank you. And thank you for choosing Westlake as the home of your new project here.
Yes, thank you for your consideration.
I know that we don't know in terms of the tenants, possible tenants that may be coming because they don't exist yet, but your existing e-commerce company does. I'm just curious to know what kinds of things you sell, and maybe you could tell us a little bit about the
Yep.
business. And
Yes, definitely. And my company would actually be, occupying the majority of the space.
great.
Basically, what we do is it's a lot of products, a lot of outdoor home and garden products. It's like irrigation and pest control and pool supplies, that kind of stuff. We sell a couple of thousand different SKUs. So it's kind of a wide spectrum, but it's all retail, small
Is it
package.
strictly e-commerce, or you have kind of like a showroom?
It's strictly e-commerce.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Any questions? That's all I wanted to know.
Okay, and I just want to say, really look forward to the opportunity to locate here and, continue to grow and with Westlake and, become a part of Westlake.
Where are you now, if you don't mind me asking?
We're in West Palm Beach, just off Southern Boulevard in Jog area.
And you outgrew your space, I'm
We're
guessing?
we're bursting at the seams. Yeah, this would over double our space than what we're currently in. So we're, like I said, we're really looking forward to growing.
How many jobs would this bring to the city, if you could estimate?
I would guess for me probably 40 or so.
Okay.
The remaining space that would be rented, that could vary.
And I guess my only other question would be in terms of like traffic impact. Is there a lot of traffic in and out of this warehouse? I mean, is it nonstop all day kind of deal?
No, it's. I mean, this remaining part that could be leased, if that was leased to someone, let's say, who was, truckloads of fridges
Right.
are delivered and they immediately go out, that would be probably.
What about in
But
terms
for-
of your existing?
Yeah, for me, we process the product, so we get, trucks delivered and they don't immediately go out. They get processed, they get, there's labeling and a lot of stuff that we do to it. So it's a slower movement of in and out because we actually pause to assemble and do stuff with the items. So it's right now we probably have less than 10 semi trucks a day
Oh, wow.
come in and probably, well, I say come in, it's whether they're coming or going, I guess is the same thing, but, and then probably about another 6 or 7 leaving. So it's hours go by where there's not even a single truck coming in and out. So I don't expect anything major.
This might be a question for Don. Was there some kind of traffic impact study done? Oh,
Tara's on it.
okay. Whoa, here we go.
Tara Dewey, Lewis Longman and Walker, on behalf of Minto PBLH LLC. This entitlement is part of the overall Minto development, and the way it works is when we had a portion of this which was for light industrial uses, a portion of our traffic study was. But to be clear how that works for you as these site plans come in, our overall entitlement was based on particular use codes in traffic, and some uses have higher trips per day and trips per peak hour than others. So when we come in with a site plan, we have to do an analysis. It's called a traffic statement that we submit with every site plan application for every particular use, which takes what we were entitled to, and it's either a straight line. For instance, residential is a pretty straight line. We build this many units, but sometimes we do what we call an equivalency with your traffic engineer. We convert uses, especially the non-residential, because you just don't know what you're going to get. And through the traffic codes, like I said, sometimes it's a higher use, sometimes it's a lower use. It will deduct from our overall traffic concurrency approval that we receive from Palm Beach County accordingly. So it all goes through your program as well to make sure that the local roads and the trip counts are going to be okay.
Awesome. Thank you, Tara.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Tara.
Council, any
I have a
questions?
question for Nelson. So in the beginning, you mentioned 2 waivers, but I only saw 1 for the height. Is there another one that I didn't see?
No, was just one waiver for the height and a number of conditions.
Okay, okay, just want to make sure.
Okay. So thank you for talking about the traffic, because I could envision those Amazon trucks just kind of lining up like they do on Belvedere. So thank you for that. But the second question was regarding the gates, and it was optional for your incoming future
Yeah.
tenants. But on your property, will you have the gates initially at each of your, or is it, I guess that was my question.
Yeah.
I see you're shaking no, they won't be there initially, but I wanted to.
Yeah, I don't really have a use for outdoor
Okay.
storage for my business. This is more for, if some future tenants, yeah, but I don't foresee using it for my space.
Perfect. Okay,
Rather have it and not need it than
right,
need it
Yeah.
and not have it.
thank you.
Understood. Any other questions for Mr. Tristano?
Not for him, just speaking out loud, I like how you brought up the traffic.
Mhm.
In that Publix Plaza, we're gonna have restaurants, fast food, right in that area, correct?
We'll have some bays, and from what I understand, there's a out parcel for a 6,000 square foot high turnover sit-down restaurant.
Right. Okay. Do we have any concern of maybe no through truck roads because if we all want to commute to this area, but we're having this high flow of trucks coming through, are we worried about that at all?
I mean, from The map's not up there anymore, but it seems like.
Can we go
there's-
back to where it shows the different plats?
There's thoroughfare. There's plenty of ways in and out
Parkway North,
from what I saw.
Town Center Parkway South.
Yeah,
Straight.
that's the beauty of
Yeah, go back.
the city of
Yeah.
city of Westlake is the extent of connectivity of major roadways. So in this particular case, you have two really major arterials, Town Center Parkway as well as Persimmon, that kind of come together and wrap around this site. So there's great access. There's signalized intersections at both locations on Seminole Pratt Whitney. And then you have the ability to have interconnectivity even through parcel H to the to the south, so that all these roads are interconnected. So the public site plan has multiple access points onto both roads. And this particular site plan has the truck traffic would be basically limited to the area on the east side of the building along the water management tract that you see there, which is opposite or parallel to where the loading area is for public. So we very intentionally segregate any truck traffic from vehicular and pedestrian type facilities. So this is anticipated to function very, very well. And I think your staff would tell you that it's at well below the adopted levels of service for these types of roads.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
I have one question for Nielsen. I remember we didn't specify, but it says light uses. We talk about what includes in the light uses. And I remember we spoke about what kind of pharmaceuticals, because I read in here in your slides that it can be medical and pharmaceutical. Is any way we can know what kind of pharmaceuticals they can be storage, or that's something we cannot?
That's a great question. At this point, I don't have the specific, no, I don't know at this point, but to me, the most important part of the definition is that is on the definition of the light industrial, that is prohibiting to be damaging to the, to the surroundings, to the, not to be a dust or a noise, all of those. So I think it's gonna be on a one-on-one basis, basically. At this point, I couldn't specifically say what kind of pharmaceutical, but it has to be in compliance with the definition.
Which would be no toxic waste, basically.
Yes.
I think is what you're concerned with.
Yeah.
I had another one about the fences. We were showing the fences in the backyard or the back of the building. You were showing 6 to 8 foot fences, but you also had 12-foot rolling. What's the difference with the 12-foot rolling?
Rolling?
It's the width of the gate.
That's at the
Okay.
building itself, that's a rolling gate, but the fence is outside to, if they have, for example, if they are selling, let's just say, floor materials, most of the manufacturer of floor materials, they always have something outside, so, but then for that reason, that might be fenced out, so to prevent any untimely conditions.
And do you guys remember offhand the other light industrial? Did we also approve the 8 foot?
We did, yes.
Okay. I don't have any more questions.
Thank you, Nielsen.
Thank you, Nielsen.
Mr. Chistano, thank you very much, and congratulations on your thriving business there. That's great.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for coming to Westlake. Appreciate it. Bringing jobs. We have any comments from council?
No comments.
No?
No come?
Let's go ahead and open for public hearing. Do we have any comments from the public?
Mayor, I received no previous comment cards. We'll give the virtual audience a moment to raise their virtual hand. If you wish to make a comment, please raise your virtual hand, unmute your device. If you've been muted and you're on a cell phone, please press *6 and state your name and address. You'll have 3 minutes.
If there's no further discussion on SPR 2022-01, can I have a motion?
Motion to approve, including a waiver for fence height.
Second.
I have a motion by Vice Mayor Langowski, seconded by Councilwoman Vayuron. Roll call, Councilwoman Vayuron,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Langowski,
Yes.
Mayor O'Connor,
Yes.
Councilwoman Leonard,
Yes.
Councilman Martinez.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. Thank you.
Excellent.
Mayor, if I may interrupt, Ms. Levesque is here if you wish to do her presentation now.
Yes, let's circle back. Absolutely. Welcome, Ms. Levesque. State your name and address for the record.
Hi, good evening. My name is Gina Levesque. I am the Palm Beach County Commission on Ethics Intake and Compliance Manager, and our address is 300 North Dixie Highway in West Palm. Welcome to the new commission, and good luck with your job out here in Westlake. I live in Royal Palm, so I'm pretty close. My role with the commission, as I said, is Intake and Compliance Manager, and we also go out and visit the 39 municipalities once a year just to say, hey, we're still here. If you have any questions, let us know. And each of us are assigned a particular agency, and you guys are mine. Probably because I live the closest. At any rate, I know that your agency is just doing a training policy, an ethics training policy. I've been working with Zoe with it. And so you guys are under our jurisdiction by MOU, and that will expire in a few years. But if the citizens want to, if you guys want to put it on a referendum so that you can come under our jurisdiction forever, like the other municipalities, then that would be up to you to ask them if they want to do that. And that's it for my presentation. I just want to let you know who I am and that we're around. I've got some stuff in the back for everyone, my business card and everything. And if anybody ever has any questions, please feel free to call me. I work all the time, so.
Absolutely. Thank you so
Thank
much
you.
for coming in.
Thank you.
I really apologize for being so late. I misread my calendar and thought I was supposed to be here at 6:30. So,
That's perfectly okay.
thank you.
Thank you.
So much. All right, let's move forward to MSP 2022-02. It's the master signage plan for James Business Park Warehouse.
All those individuals who're going to testify during the course of this hearing, please stand and be sworn. Do you solemnly swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes,
Please
I
proceed.
Has there been any ex parte communication on master signage?
None for me.
No.
No.
None for myself as well.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, council members. Nilsa Zacharias, Planning and Zoning Director for the City of Westlake. This application is concurrent with the application that you just approved, which is the James Business Park. So this is with regard to signage. So again, there will be two buildings, and those two buildings will require to have signage. So the applicant submitted the proposed application for G Southwest and is requesting 22 waivers. So this is the specifics with regard to the application. As we just mentioned, there are two buildings, building 1 in the north and building 2 on the south area. So, and those are the square footages of each building. The north is 135,540 and the south building is 10,103 square feet. So with regard to e-commerce signage, it's challenging because usually when we have an applicant, for example, Publix, we knew exactly how many stores, how many, so each retail business, we knew exactly what we were reviewing and approving in terms of sign. However, in this situation, we don't know for sure how many businesses, how many places, how many signage. So to review this type of application we need to be flexible and it's a challenge. since we don't know exactly how many tenants will host these buildings. So there are basically the applicant had developed two possible scenarios for with regard to these buildings. This is the first scenario. As you can see on the rendering, in this case, we have 4 possible tenants, you know, and they are, and this is the most likely scenario where large square footage will be dedicated to the two different tenants. So this type, and we have different type of signage. We have principal, we have also secondary access signs, so we'll go one by one. So this is scenario number 1. Basically, the tenants will be permitted one principal tenant wall sign. So, and then this is the scenario number 2, where you can see, just comparing, here we are envisioning 4 tenants on a scenario number 1, and on a scenario number 2, 3 tenants, which means one of them will have a larger square footage. So this is basically, we are saying that they will be allowed one principal tenant wall sign, or they may choose to utilize a secondary tenant wall sign, but are not permitted to have both unless they are located on a corner building. And we'll go one, we'll look at it each at a time. So these are the waivers that they are requesting. First of all, tenant directional sign. The code provides that they need to be 4 square feet, and they are requesting 13.2 square feet. So larger because they might have more tenants. So, and they are 2 waivers because there will be 2 directional signs located on different locations on the site. So with regard to the principal tenant wall signs, there are a number of waivers in terms of location, in terms of size. So, and also because they are 2 buildings, the north and the south. So there was a lot of review back and forth with the applicant with regard to this. But in summary, with regard to this, they are requesting 8 waivers. With regard to the secondary tenant wall sign, so they are again requesting a number of waivers, 8 signs on the north building and 4 signs on the south building, which exceed the code requirements of 1 sign per building. So they're gonna have a number of signs, and the code only provides for 1 sign per building. And and also the code says that there should be only 90 square feet each signs, the square footage of the sign, and they are requesting 160 square feet. So with regard to the principal tenant rear wall sign, so what are the signs that are putting on the rear of the building, basically? So they are requesting 2 waivers. With regard to the building ID signs, it's very important because in case of fire safety, the building ID signs need to be very upfront and easy to read. So they are requesting 6 waivers. With regard to this application, staff is proposing 2 conditions of approval. Number 1, tenants will be permitted to have 1 principal tenant wall sign. They may also choose to utilize a secondary wall sign in lieu of a principal tenant wall sign, but not both unless they are on a different elevation, unless they are a corner, basically. And number 2 is each tenant will be permitted 1 rear wall tenant sign. However, if it is a major tenant, they may be permitted 2. So these are, we've been working with the applicant, and they have agreed to these conditions of approval. And my understanding is that Mr. Healy has a presentation.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, council members. Again, for the record, Donaldson Hearing here tonight on behalf of the applicant, Mr. Ben Tristano, who is here. This is a companion petition to the site plan petition that we just saw, and this is a master signage plan. So just as a reminder, the Westlake Code was developed so to encourage master signage programs and fully anticipates the types of waivers that are before you today. Everything that we're looking at this evening in terms of the proposed signage and deviations are consistent, but maybe a little bit less than what you approved on the Westlake Commerce Center. This building's a little bit smaller in size. That was 227,000 square feet. And the one thing that you'll note, the one reason why it is that our requests are architecture specific. So as you see the elevations that are presented, when we look to see how big should the sign be, we were very intentional and deliberate about where we want the sign to be placed on the building to ensure that it's proportionate with the architecture. Because we've all seen signs that, take up 100% of the area where the stucco is, or sometimes more. It just doesn't look right. And so we really try to make sure that what's done is proportionate and signage can be used as something that's aesthetically pleasing to further enhance architecture, as well as to provide for wayfinding. So can you go to my master? There it is. This is it. So we reviewed the buildings before, but let's just look at this corner, and which kind of goes through why we've asked for the different options on the principal tenant ID signs. So you'll see here right on the corner, this is a corner of a building. This particular area, there could be one tenant here. This is in the second building. That could have one tenant where you see those two sets of doors, or it could have two tenants where we have the two sets of doors, one for each side. And so if we have one tenant, it's our desire to have the signage proportionately over the center of the parapet, very intentionally in between the two stucco bands or the white bands that you see. If we have two, then we want to have it proportionate, and we want it to relate to the architecture. So you'll see that very specifically into the design. This is the corner, the big building. In the big building, we truly anticipate just one tenant on the corners, but just like with the building number 2, the bay doors in the center of the building are designed where they could be two tenants. And so very specifically designed, of course, the placement of the signage, again, very intentional in between the bands of the stucco and the architectural design that you see. So this is representing building number 2. And so I think it really helps clarify what we're looking at trying to do. The orange would be if it's one tenant. We basically, the size of the letters are consistent with your code, 36 inches max. We've asked for just simply an expanded area so that area was consistent with the architecture of the building. And then if it's two tenants, then there's two signs. Again, proportionate, all located in the same area. The signage will be less. And then on the side of the building, that's where we have our principal, our building identification sign. That's in blue. So a building identification sign is to identify the building, and the light blue is just really the address. So all buildings per fire rescue need to have addresses, and we provide the addresses in both on the front as well as on the rear of the building for fire rescue and navigation purposes. This now represents the bigger building. So in the bigger building, you can see and you can see the top left side of the building where the orange is. That particularly shows you where we have the two bay doors or entrances to the warehouse building. Those could be two tenants or it could be one tenant. If it's one tenant, we would have just one sign. If it's two tenants, you would have the yellow, which is on the second line, which shows you how the two signs would come together. And then very specifically, how we've identified where we want the logo element to work with the architecture. So it works with the vertical element of the architecture. And so just very carefully considered of what we were looking at doing. The signage in the rear of the building is really intended just to aid the truck drivers coming in. The public does not go into the rear of the building. That's for use by the tenants and the deliveries coming in and deliveries coming out. So each of the bay doors have a number on the bay door to identify it. And then if you have different tenants, just a very simple sign that would tell you it's, Mr. Tostano's company or maybe one of his tenants. So very similar to what we had done at the Westlake warehouse. And so this kind of shows how they could get allocated across the building. Now, your code, just to be real clear, I'm not sure I totally understood what Nielsen was trying to communicate. Every tenant is entitled to a sign. We're allowed to have one building identification sign, but every tenant is entitled to a sign, assuming that they have a door to go into. If a tenant doesn't have a door, then he doesn't get a sign, but every tenant is permitted a sign. So this is just leasing scenarios, just to give you an idea of how the building might break up. As Mr. Tristano represented, he anticipates taking, at least half, it sounds like maybe even more of the building today. And he, might have three, potentially up to three tenants based on the number of bay doors. Here's another scenario. It could just be himself and two tenants. We just don't know what that is. Of course, there's a maximum number based on the bay doors that we have. We would anticipate the smaller building being not more than four tenants. It could be three tenants. It could be two tenants. It could be one tenant. If it were one tenant, you'd get one building identification sign and one principal tenant sign. You wouldn't get four signs. You won't get a sign for every bay door you have. So, just the same with Mr. Tristano's space. He's got the large blue space. He has the ability to have one principal tenant ID sign on the west side of the building. And so it's because he's on a corner, he can have a second. But just because he has other doors and openings, he doesn't get a choice. He doesn't get more signs. He just would get the two signs and that's it. So, it's important to have the right amount of signage, but we don't want to proliferate signs. And of course, these are large buildings, so the scale is very commensurate with the size. None of the logos, Mr. Mayor, exceed, the 5 feet, which is a criteria that was established by the mayor a long time ago. But it works with this particular project. Primary ground sign, very comparable to what we had done over in Pod H. We're not asking for a taller sign like was asked for in the Commerce Center. This is just 8 feet. So the size is the same. We'll have up to 4 tenants, which is consistent with your code. There's one waiver relative to the height of the base. So our base is less than 30% of the sign, so we're required to have a waiver for that, and that's consistent. And then the directional sign, we would only have up to 4 tenants. When you have larger vehicles, we want to make sure people know where they want to go. And so this is just to make it readable. So the height of the sign is relatively small. It's only 4 feet in total height and basically 4 feet in width. So it's very much so, in scale, not much taller than the height of your dais, with 4 simple tenants that would just provide direction of where they're going. It's not advertising. It's just telling somebody where to go so that when they come in, they know where to turn, because we don't want the public going back into the loading area in the back of the building. That basically is where we only want others. So that is it. I want to thank staff for all of their hard work. Again, we tried to put it together a very comprehensive package for you that provides Mr. Testano the flexibility when it comes to trying to lease with his tenants, so that it's very predictable in what they need, and then have a wonderful project that complements the city of Westlake. So thank you very much. Happy to answer any questions that you have.
Mr. Mayor, could I ask a question?
Sure.
Do you accept the conditions?
We're in agreement with all conditions of approval, Mr. Attorney. Yes, sir.
Okay, and just for the record, you're requesting 22 waivers.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Any comments from council?
I have a question. I know we discussed this before too, but the font, do we put the font or each tenant decide their own font?
Each tenant has the ability to select their own font in the absence of a tenant. Generally, what we try to do is have our national tenants who have nationally trademarked signage or even locally trademarked where they're able to utilize their font, their logo. If they don't have that, we have a default colors and default fonts so that we can manage that. And then, of course, Mr. Tristano will review all requests before they come in because he's the landlord and he'll want to make sure everything is tied together. And that goes not only for the wall sign, but even for the stickers and what goes on the doors, because we've all seen it done right. And so our signage program is comprehensive to address everything.
And then the color of the building, do we choose the color of the building or each tenant has their own color for each?
The color of the building is selected as a part of the package. So that cannot change unless we come back in and do an amendment with your staff. So very carefully selected. Of course, Mr. Carter has a very detailed review as the master developer in reviewing those colors. And we want, we have a theme that we're trying to manage. So the colors of the building remain the same. There's some flexibility, obviously, in the color of your logo if you have a trademark logo.
Quick question on.
Yes, sir.
I'm just curious. Is it the same architect as the other?
No,
projects?
no,
Buildings are eerily similar.
they have similar flavors, but they're different. So this is Peter Corellis out of Deerfield Beach, a very talented architect, and it's nice to have a different hand so that everything doesn't look. The detailing is definitely different. And so we encourage diversity in architects and not having the same architect on every single project.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thank
So
you.
I just want to clarify, restate the why. So what I thought I heard you say is that the 22 waivers are due to the architectural design so that we can proportionately design, I guess, the signs of each tenant so that it's aesthetically pleasing to kind of fit the building.
Very, very well stated. So in this particular case, the facades of those buildings, now we design them in scale, so the windows are taller, everything is taller. But if you were to, the buildings are approximately 50 feet tall. And so if you were to go and just put a small sign, it would actually make the building look larger. If you put the sign in context with the elevation, it just appears to be proportionally correct. It's the Disney effect. If you've ever walked down Main Street at Disney, all those buildings are scaled to make you feel comfortable. And they're not necessarily true to scale, but they look true to scale.
Thanks.
Also, the number of waivers is because we don't know how many tenants they will have. Like he explained, the small building could have only one tenant or could have 4 tenants. So that's the part that I explained before, so basically the 22 waivers is envisioning, I would say, the best or the worst case scenario. However, it's all inclusive basically.
Thank you.
Any other comments from council?
No comment.
There being no further comment, let's go ahead and open for public hearing. Do we have any comments from the public?
Mayor, I received no previous public comment cards. We'll give the virtual audience a moment to raise their virtual hand. If you wish to make a comment, please raise your virtual hand. If you've been muted, please press *6. You have 3 minutes. Mayor, there's no comments.
There being no further discussion, let's open up for a motion.
Motion to pass MSP 2022-02 with the 22 waivers.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Martinez, and seconded by Councilwoman Bayou-Ron. Roll call, Vice Mayor Langowski.
Yes.
Mayor O'Connor.
Yes.
Councilwoman Leonard.
Yes.
Councilman Martinez.
Yes.
Councilwoman Bayou-Ron.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Clerk.
Thank you very much. And Ben looks forward to being here. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Forward to having you. Let's move on to the second reading of our special events ordinance.
Special thanks.
Wow. 2022-03, special events.
Ordinance by title only, an ordinance, the City Council of the City of Westlake, Florida, amending the Code of Ordinance by amending Chapter to be entitled Land Development Code by specifically creating section to be determined entitled Special Events, providing for a definition of special events, providing for the requirement of permit, providing for permit requirements, providing for regulations relative to signage, the sale, service of alcoholic beverages, providing for batch applications, providing for the regulation of garage sales, providing for codification, conflicts, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date.
Staff comments or presentations?
Thank you. For the record, Osnia Leon, planner with the City of Westlake. This item came before you as first reading, and this is the second reading, which will be, with your approval, will be adopted. The ordinance did not change from the first reading. We only made some minor adjustments, added some language for flexibility based on the council's direction on the first reading. So for this section, we added the flexibility of applicants for non-residential uses outside the R1 and R2 zoning districts, which they have a maximum of 4 special events permit requests, and we included the language in red where they can come before the city council for request additional for an additional request. And the same for non-residential uses located within the R1 and R2 zoning districts. They have also the option again to come before city council to ask for additional. And the same for anchor tenants that are permitted to have 4 special events per calendar year. Again, they can come before city council and request more. So those are the only changes from the first reading.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Thank you for adding in that flexibility. Do you have any council comments?
Nope.
No? No comment?
Nope.
It's open for public comment.
Mayor, we received no previous comment cards. We'll give the virtual audience a moment to raise their virtual hand. If you wish to make a comment, please raise your virtual hand, state your name and your address. Mayor, there's no comments.
There being no further discussion, may I have a motion?
Motion to approve ordinance 2022-03 for special events.
Second.
Motion by Vice Mayor Langowski, seconded by Councilman Martinez. Roll call, Mayor O'Connor.
Yes.
Councilwoman Leonard.
Yes.
Councilman Martinez.
Yes.
Councilwoman Vayuron.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Langowski.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
Excellent. Second reading, ordinance 2022-06, per diem and allowances.
Ordinance by title only, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Westlake, Florida, creating section to be determined the Code of Ordinances, providing rates of travel per diem, subsistence, and private vehicle mileage allowance for public officials and employees, providing for codification, providing for conflicts, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date.
Any staff comments?
I'll be able to pay you for where you're going.
Do you have any comments from council?
Quick question, is there for this, is there a radius or distance and this cannot be used or can be used?
It would be used for any time you're traveling on city business, whether it's local or long distance.
Okay.
Any other council comments? Let's open up for public comment.
Mayor, we received no previous comment cards. We'll give the virtual audience a moment to raise their virtual hand. If you wish to make a comment, please raise your virtual hand, unmute your device, or press *6 and state your name and address. We have no comments, Mayor.
There being no further discussion, may I have a motion?
Mayor, I motion to adopt ordinance 2022-06 per diem and allowances on second reading.
Second.
Motion by Councilwoman Leonard, seconded by Councilwoman Vayuron. Roll call, Councilwoman Leonard,
Yes.
Councilman Martinez,
Yes.
Councilwoman Vayuron,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Langowski.
Yes.
Mayor O'Connor.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
We have before us 2022-07 golf cart registration stickers, second reading.
Ordinance by title only, an ordinance to City Council for the City of Westlake, Florida, amending chapter ordinance 2020-01 relative to the use of golf carts, providing for an amendment to the placement of registration sticker, providing for codification, conflicts, severability, and providing for an effective date.
Staff comments?
Just wanted to make sure we updated where we wanted the sticker, and it is.
So this gave us flexibility. It could be either windshield or front fender.
You said, okay.
Council comments?
No, no.
Public comment.
Mayor, we received no previous comment cards. We'll give the virtual audience a moment to raise their virtual hand or mute their device, stating their name and address. If you're a caller that has been muted, please press *6. Mayor, we have no comments.
May I have a motion, please?
Motion to approve ordinance 2022-07 golf cart registration stickers.
Second.
Motion by Vice Mayor Langowski, seconded by Councilman Martinez. Roll call. Councilman Martinez,
Yes.
Councilwoman Vayuron,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Langowski.
Yes.
Mayor O'Connor,
Yes.
Councilwoman Leonard.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. Thank you.
Brings us to new business. Resolution 2022-17, installation of stop signs at intersections of Persimmon Boulevard and Ilex Way. And I just want to thank staff for jumping on this right away. This, the safety of our residents is paramount, and thank you guys for getting this done quickly. Can we read by title?
Yes, sir. Resolution of the City Council, City of Westlake, Florida, supporting and requesting Seminole Improvement District to immediately set about to make the intersection of Persimmon Boulevard and Ilex Way a four-way stop by installing stop signs at each corner of the intersection, providing for conflict, severability, and effective date.
Mr. City Manager.
Yes, Mr. Mayor and Council. After having two T-bone accidents within a week of each other, definitely is a necessary item to put that into a four-way stop before we have a serious accident. I would anticipate that down the road, as the development continues and as the commercial comes in, that will probably end up being a signalized intersection eventually due to overall volumes, especially in and out of the hospital area as they build. But for now, the stop sign should suffice. And I have worked with city engineer and city traffic as to the process, and with the Seminole Improvement District engineers. And as soon as this is approved, we'll start the process.
How long will it take to get actual stop signs installed?
It takes, I believe, 4 to 6 weeks, because you have to put it out with the notice of the signs coming, et cetera, with traffic signal boards. So we'll have some signal boards out there probably within a week. Then we'll start working on the rest of it.
Can we make sure we stay diligent and
100%.
schedule? I'd love to see that done sooner than later. We have any discussion from the council?
No.
Are stop signs our only option, or roundabouts ever an option?
The roadway in the design is ultimately a thoroughfare road as Persimmon, as it was originally designed to connect to 140th. So it would be a major 4-lane divided. That's why we're going with a 4-way stop now, potentially a signalized later.
Got it.
Because as traffic increases on that demand of the road, then we would add in the extra 2 lanes. Because right now there's only 2 lanes, but it's designed to be 4-lane divided.
Okay.
So it's incremental safety.
Right. Got it. Thanks, Ken.
Again, thank you for jumping on this right away. Do we have any more discussion from council?
None.
No.
May I have a motion?
Motion to approve resolution 2022/17 for installation of stop signs between intersections Permission Boulevard and Alex Way.
Second.
Motion by Councilwoman Vayuron, seconded by Vice Mayor Langowski. Roll call, Councilwoman Vayuron,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Langowski.
Yes.
Mayor O'Connor,
Yes.
Councilwoman Leonard,
Yes.
Councilman Martinez.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you. Fiscal year 2021 audited financial report. City Manager.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, this is the financial report done by the independent auditors for the fiscal year 2021. There is one minor finding in it, as we had exceeded our original estimated budget in the special planning and revenue funds. We had estimated lower and we spent more than what we estimated on the budget. It's a minor finding and recommendation. We'll monitor it and keep better track of it.
All right.
Other than that, it's a clean audit.
I have a question.
Sure.
Yeah.
Is the city of Westlake part of the Inspector General's office?
Yes, the IG does.
You do?
Yes.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, it wasn't 3 weeks after our incorporation that I sat with the
Okay.
Inspector General.
Okay, thank you.
And I will comment that John's group has been a pleasure to work with. We can always ask them questions. They'll come back and they're very responsive.
Okay.
Any other questions or comments from council? All right, let's move on to the FPU franchise.
Need a motion to accept the audit?
Oh. May I have a motion?
Motion to approve the physical audit for 2021.
Except we don't approve.
Oh,
Accept the audit.
let's accept it. The audited financial report for 2021.
Second.
Motion by Vice Mayor Langowski, seconded by Councilwoman Leonard. Roll call, Vice Mayor Langowski.
Yes.
Mayor O'Connor,
Yes.
Councilwoman Leonard,
Yes.
Councilman Martinez,
Yes.
Councilwoman Vayuron.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
Moving on to the FPU franchise agreement submitted by Mr. City Manager. Comments?
Yes, Mr. Mayor and Council, this has been a long time coming, but we have finally worked out the franchise agreement between the city, FPU, and Seminole Improvement District. Seminole Improvement District has approved it and signed off on it. It's awaiting your signature and approval at this meeting, and then we will begin receiving the franchise fee payments from FPU.
It's not retroactive, is it?
No.
Do we have any council comments?
Oh, and Mr. Doug is here along with the attorney for FPU if you have any questions.
Need a motion to accept the agreement.
And approve the authorization to execute the resolution for the Board of Supervisors for Seminole Improvement District number 2022-2024, please.
What, Mr. City Attorney?
Motion to approve.
Thank you.
I was waiting for the whole thing.
No, I just have to say motion to approve that one.
Second.
Motion by Vice Mayor Langowski, seconded by Councilwoman Leonard. Roll call, Mayor O'Connor,
Yes.
Councilwoman Leonard,
Yes.
Councilman Martinez,
Yes.
Councilwoman Vayuron,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Langowski.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you. We have before us 2022-15 proposed millage rate for the fiscal year 2023 ad valorem tax. Date and time for the first public budget hearing. City Attorney, please read the resolution into record.
Well, respectfully, Mr. Mayor and members of the council, I'd like you to have a presentation from staff so you
Okay,
can
we can do that first.
entertain a millage rate based on the recommendation of the city manager.
City Manager.
Yes, Mr. Mayor and Council. At this point in time, it is necessary to set our highest, what we anticipate the highest millage rate to be, which is recommended to remain at the 5.125 at this point in time. The proposed budget that has been supplied to you accounts for that 5.125 with the items in the budget that is perceived to be necessary for next year and not come up short. I do propose that we have a workshop with the council on July 26th, Tuesday, July 26th, to walk through the budget and look at tweaking any of the items so that we can look at if there could be a reduction in the millage rate.
How much time is between this proposed millage rate and the actual adoption?
It's in the actual adoption, I believe the date is September. So we have plenty of time to tweak the budget.
You have two hearings. You have a tentative millage rate and budget hearing, which you're going to have the date set tonight,
Right.
and then you'll have your final hearing thereafter.
So I've been pretty clear about this in private. Now I'm going to say it on the record. I'm gonna recommend we adopt and keep the 5.125 today. But I'm gonna challenge staff between now, this budget workshop, and the time that we actually have to adopt this budget, that we have to trim some fat and get that number down. How much down? I don't know. We'll work on that together.
Agreed.
But the number will not be 5.125. It's going to be below that. Might have to be 5.124, but we are not going to keep the millage rate the same. I want it to be lower. So that's my opinion. We have time to try and work on that and get that done. I think if we all work together, staff works together, we can find a way to lower the millage rate for our residents.
If I could, Mr. Mayor, you and the council have that opportunity at your two public hearings. Tonight, you're just setting the bar high. You can't go any higher.
Good.
You can go down, but you can't go any higher.
Correct.
And that's why you're setting it tonight. But it is subject to your consideration, and that's why I'm asking for a separate motion. And that will be the case in September as well.
Fair enough.
Because we can't go backwards.
Right.
Yeah.
You
When
can,
September
you can leave it.
Right.
But you can't raise it. You can reduce it, you can leave it, you can't raise it.
Understood.
Just have my opinion. Discussion from council? You guys think?
So I'd just like to hear more about why you recommended the highest. Just-
Basically, in order to cover the first quarter operating reserves as are required to, there are funds in there for next year's Fourth Festival. There are some other funds in there potentially for some city hall operations. There's potentially some funds in there for, depending on what we start, anything on the park in conjunction with Sid. And again, making sure that as we finish up, we have the sufficient funds that are required to do what we need to do. Because again, we get paid once a year, and
I mean, for the record, Ken could have recommended higher.
Right.
He recommended to leave
right,
it.
I recommended the same also because,
I'm hell bent on lowering it.
and I recommend holding it this year at the 5.125 because again, this year the commercial hasn't hit and will not hit for this coming budget year as of January 1st. Next year, we'll pick up Publix, we'll pick up the storage units, we'll pick up some other commercial, which will give us more flexibility to be able to lower it more next year. That's why I'm recommending holding the line this year, looking at net following year.
Today's not the budget workshop, so
Understood.
we don't have to litigate that.
Okay, but thank you, that helps.
But we'll work through the line items with everything.
Okay.
Just another comment, for the 26th for July, for our budget workshop, can we have maybe a proposed, or like what we paid for the,
I will have a
as best as
follow-up,
we can,
I will have a follow-up
breakdown?
analysis of what Fourth Fest costs us.
Okay, just as we work on the
We
number.
raised, for the record, we raised a ton. of money for us.
Well, the last couple
Over
of checks came in
70,000
today.
Did they? Yeah, over $70,000 or so. So we did get a lot of money from.
But again,
Partners.
one of the things that we have to be cognizant of is, will we be able to
Right,
come
we have
up
to
with
plan
that
for it.
much
I get it.
going forward
I
year
get it.
after year after year?
I
So
understand. We have to.
there's a magic line that all of us have to tap dance through to be good stewards of what we have, to be able to provide what the community is looking for, anticipating in their visions, and in your vision of what we need to do.
Any other comments from council?
No problem.
May I have a motion?
Ken, could you state the date for the record for the hearing? Section 3.
Yeah, section 3 is, let me pull up, sorry,
And the workshop again is,
July 20th.
July 26th.
I have a comment, Karen.
Mhm.
Can we make sure that the air conditioner is working ice cold for the workshop?
I will speak to the landowner again.
Grinding here.
It's starting to get cool now.
Yeah.
It's starting.
Whatever we need to do.
Yes, it's just
Can we
starting to
work
get
an
cool
air
though.
conditioner repair into the budget?
Yes. Shoot, I missed.
It just went up.
Yeah.
AP.
Get you the date in 1 second here. Okay. Public hearing number 1 would be July 31st, 2022.
No, it's going to be September.
Yes.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. September 9th,
And the mills will be 5.125.
5.125. And second is,
You'll,
after
we'll set that at
that,
that,
after September 9th.
at September 9th hearing.
Correct.
Okay, Mayor, would you entertain a motion prior to the resolution to declare the,
Maximum of 5.1.
well, preliminary millage rate of 5.125 and a public hearing, the first public hearing on the budget will be September 9th, 2022 at 6 PM.
Motion to approve.
Entertain that motion. Have it. Motion on the floor. Do we have a second?
Second.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch who made the motion.
Vice Mayor Langowski.
And Councilman Ron seconded the motion?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion by Vice Mayor Langowski, seconded by Councilwoman Ron. Roll call, Councilwoman Leonard,
Yes.
Councilman Martinez,
Yes.
Councilwoman Ron,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Langowski.
Yes.
Mayor O'Connor.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
Resolution by title only, resolution City Council, City of Westlake, Florida, adopting a proposed millage rate for the city's general operating fund for the fiscal year beginning October 1, 2022 and ending September 20th, 2023, providing for conflict, severability, and effective date. If you could entertain a motion to adopt the resolution.
I'll entertain a motion to adopt the resolution.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Vice Mayor Langowski, seconded by Councilwoman Ron. Roll call, Councilman Martinez,
Yes.
Councilwoman Ron,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Langowski.
Yes.
Mayor O'Connor,
Yes.
Councilwoman Leonard.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. Thank you.
We have before us a resolution 2022-16, levying the annual special assessment for residential solid waste services for fiscal year 2022, 2023. Please read the resolution into record.
Resolution of the City Council, City of Westlake, Florida, relating to the provision of residential solid waste services in the City of Westlake, Florida, providing for purpose and definitions, providing for legislative determinations, establishing the estimated rate for the residential solid waste services special assessment for the fiscal year beginning October 1, 2022, directing the preparation of residential solid waste services special assessment roll, authorize the public hearing and directing the provision of notice thereof and providing for an effective date.
Mr. City Manager, you want to tell me what this is about?
Second here. Yes, the solid waste assessment, on an annual basis, we have to, motion to put the levy of the assessment on every year for the county, for the tax collector. And it is $280.60.
Has it changed
It has gone up like, 25 or 30 cents, something like that.
since?
Yes.
Is that basically a pass-through?
Yes, it's whatever the solid waste authority goes up on the collections on the contract.
We don't put a penny on it.
No.
Excellent. How much time do we have left on our contract?
I believe we have another 2 years. But by then we will be of the size that we will be able to go out on the street and do a better deal straight.
Great. Do we have any comments from the council?
No comment.
May I have a motion?
Motion to approve resolution 2022, levying annual special assessment for residential solid waste services for 2022 through 2023.
Second.
Motion by Vice Mayor Langowski, seconded by Councilman Martinez. Roll call, Councilwoman Vayuron.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Langowski.
Yes.
Mayor O'Connor.
Yes.
Councilwoman Leonard.
Yes.
Councilman Martinez.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. Thank you.
City council comments. Councilman Leonard,
I have none.
you're up. Mr. Martinez.
Fourth Fest was awesome. Thank you. I had a great time. Kind of want to ask Ken, do we have a cheat sheet on events, on if someone wants an event, timeline, time frame, and costs needed to do something to kind of streamline? For like Fourth Fest, we kind of came up with it and we kind of,
Wave through.
kind of waved through anything kind of streamline events. Does that make any sense? What I'm trying to say?
Yeah, one of the things we will be doing is I have an after action report coming
Okay.
from the PBSO, one from the fire,
Mhm.
one from the vendors, one from Sophia's group, one from internal, as to processes and how we can tweak it better,
Yes.
streamline it, make sure that things are in a better situation.
Right.
Overall, it went off very well.
Mhm.
There are some minor things that, from my perspective, observing things which would be tweaked better, could be done. But again, for the first time,
Right.
I'm thrilled.
I want to add that an event the magnitude of Sports Fest takes an unbelievable amount of planning. There's no cheat sheet that's going to get us through that. In fact, I think, maybe we take a month off and then we start planning next year's Sports
Yes.
Fest. It's
Mhm.
going to take a
Right. You
year.
can see that's part of the learning. All right. Let's start now. And yeah, if we're going to plan that, then I took down some notes for us to add to next year's Fourth Fest.
Great.
Send them
Yeah.
over.
Yeah, so
Over and-
Send them over to me.
We'll go over that.
Any of your
Workshops.
observations that you think would improve things or make things
Right.
better, or where you saw glitches and stuff.
Mhm.
Get them
Add
over
the
to me.
committee. We'll add, I think the public now will be very excited to join this Fourth Fest committee. We'll have a long line of people banging on our door to get onto it. And we still need to actually establish a general special events committee,
Yes.
not just Fourth Fest.
Yes.
So speaking of that, of general events, if I had an event I wanted to propose now, or do I need to add it to the agenda for next meeting?
Say,
Shoot it to me and we'll
Email it
probably
to
put it on
Diana.
the agenda and
Okay.
email it to me.
make it an agenda item.
Awesome. Then that's all my comments.
Excellent. Councilwoman Bayron.
The same, Mr. Martinez. We were so pleased yesterday. It was a lot of people from different cities. They came and they were amazed. People from Wellington, they said they never seen something like that before. They were very pleased. Everybody was very happy with us. And we did it very quickly. And it really needs to be thankful. Mr. Ken was amazing, very fast.
Had a good team of people working with me. I mean, the mayor was out there, we were out there directing, redirecting, organizing. Sophia's group was organizing, my staff with Seminole Improvement District, my three guys were out there Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, moving things, making sure things were happening and stuff. So it was really a team effort, and I thank everybody for their time and effort and for the council's vision. And
When did we actually start planning for? It was like March or February.
Very quickly.
Actually, no, it was July of the year prior that we couldn't do
we
fireworks
couldn't do fireworks.
because we couldn't clear the airspace quick enough.
Correct.
So we really were planning for Fourth Fest for about a year.
Oh my.
It's not something that we threw
No.
together at the last minute.
It's a lot of legwork
blood,
at the
sweat,
last
and
minute.
tears that went into
Yeah.
Fourth Fest. We actually had to clear the airspace. The planes didn't fly above us because of the fireworks. It's a lot.
So next year, is it going to be an issue because Publix will be on that side of the road, so
Well, I mean,
won't be able
with
to.
any luck, there'll be a shovel in the ground at our town center site next year, and we won't have that site to have it anyways, so we'll have to pick a different place.
That's what I was thinking,
But
yeah.
I think we can get creative and find some good spots for it.
We'll find a space to hold the event, and
Not backed up to 60 seconds.
we'll figure out something.
Just kidding.
We'll figure out something.
Vice Mayor Langowski.
Just thanking the mayor and the city staff, Sid staff, and the vendors, the sponsors for the event. Well done. Very well done job on that. It was fun.
It was
It
fun.
was fun for the community to come out and like Laura said, local community members came out. I had people come from Loxahatchee stopping by, just saying hi and from down the street. So it was a good event.
Yeah, I second that. You know, it was a huge undertaking for our very first event. We didn't start small. We went huge. I'm still waiting on the official numbers, but I think it was over 5,000 people came to Fourth Fest. We had 1,500 car spots on one side, 1,000 on the other, 600 golf cart spots, 400 golf cart spots on the other side, and it all filled up.
Yeah.
We had
And we-
no spots left, and they started parking cars across the street and anywhere they could park it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, well over 3,000 cars, 1,000 golf carts. Figure, some cars had 2 people, some cars had 4 people. It's tough to get a real number, but I'm going to estimate it was well over 5,000 people that came to our city yesterday. Every single food truck sold out of food.
No, that's great.
It's incredible.
That's really
Uh,
nice, yes.
And the response from the community has just been absolutely unbelievable. People have been singing my praises all day, every day today, and thanking the city for putting on such a wonderful event. And really, there's city staff, the organizers, the committee, the volunteer committee. I mean, without Megan
Megan
and Liz, they were out
They were
there
tireless.
7 o'clock in the morning, coordinating things and all for the love of this city and this community. So really, and again, the sponsors,
Yeah.
a bunch of them are in this room. So I just want to thank everybody. It could not have been done without our community sponsors. And I hope that we could just do it bigger and better next year. And we definitely took notes, but for our first event, we knocked it out of the park. We really did. I want to thank all the staff for all their hard work and certainly the committee. Happy 4th of July. Do we have a report from Mr. City Manager?
Yes, couple things. I'd like to introduce Mr. Tim Day. He's come on board with Infomark to help me in the Southeast region.
Okay.
He's a former city manager, so he's done this before in experience, so he'll be helping me some around here, but a lot of with the other clients in the Southeast region. Just in case you see his face, in case I can't, might get sick one day and he might have to show
Yeah.
up, so.
Thank you, Mr. Day. Anything else?
The other thing is, following up on Fourth Fest, I did get some reports back. Some of you have probably seen them, that we did actually get positive feedback in the Acreage Speaks today regarding our event. A number of the comments were that we were fine with them bringing their swamp buggies and their side by sides and their whatever from wherever they were coming to come over and party with us and stuff. And they were like thrilled about it, horses, whatever. Then they were thrilled about that fact that we are a community that incorporates everybody around us, and they were thankful for it. And I'm thankful for the turnout. It was good weather, nice breeze. I was a little worried all the way through, but as it kept filling up and filling up and filling up, I'm going, all right, this is going to work. But I was very pleased with the staff. I already sent comments back to the fire chief and the PBSO, all the way up to the major and stuff about the teams that were out here, that they did a phenomenal job. They did one side note, they did reunite 6 kids with their lost parents. But I think next year we may end up having a lost parents booth,
There you go.
you know, so the parents can go there and the kids know where to go to find them. Yeah, it was a great time, and I'm thrilled and happy with everybody that worked on it. It was very good. And I do have after action reports coming from Mike's side from everybody to pin down how we can tweak it, make it better.
Awesome.
And that's all I have.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Great job. Mr. City Attorney.
No comment, but I have a question.
Shoot.
Beware of a lawyer who asks a question.
Defer to legal.
I wasn't aware of the July 26th workshop. I'm going to be out of the office, and I don't know if you need a lawyer at that particular workshop or not.
I don't think so.
I
It's
don't know
just
the
going to be
preference.
really numbers.
Generally, workshops of this nature,
Could someone be available by phone if we get?
if you
set
need,
up?
we could do that.
Jacob.
Or if you prefer a lawyer here, generally speaking, some of our municipal clients don't want the lawyer to workshop. Some do, so that's why I'm asking the question.
Yeah, as long as we could call you if we have a legal question.
That's
Well, you
fine.
can't take any action, so you understand that, so.
Just to clarify something if we need, I
Oh.
can't imagine what we would need at a budget.
No,
workshop.
it's
That's why-
really
that-
numbers and stuff. I don't-
That's why I raised the question.
No, you can take the.
I wish. I'm going to be out of the office, so, all right, thank you very much, that's all I have.
Oh,
You did get these in front of you.
Yes.
yeah. Chief?
Way down.
Good evening, council. Yeah, everything sounded like it went really good last night from the reports that I got back from Station 22 and the crew from 29 who brought the brand new ladder truck out there for you guys to fly the flag. I heard it looked really good. So I saw a couple pictures from Battalion Chief Hirsch. He sent me over some pictures, so it was good to see. The good notes of the evening were we didn't have any injuries that required reporting for us. Anytime someone gets hurt by a firework or if there's a fire or burn, it gets reported to a fire investigator. We didn't have any of that out here, so everyone did a good job of cleaning up their fireworks and not hurting themselves. So that's a good thing. Other than that, everything's been really good and everything's looking good out here. So
Awesome.
Chief would come out. Tony did a great job with the fireworks guy and Pam.
Yes.
They were super.
perfect.
Great
I'll
to
pass it
deal
along.
with. They did a great job when they went through all the vendor trucks and everything else was really good.
Awesome. I'm glad. I'll pass that along to their boss too.
Thank you, Chief.
Right.
Thank you.
Senator. I did have one comment to add to to myself. The Education Youth Advisory Board, we're going to have our next meeting next Thursday.
Great.
So just wanted to keep you updated.
Fantastic. And I guess the Art and Public Places Board will have something to do soon.
Yes.
So that's great news. So,
Speaking of art and
Don't
public
forget to
places,
look
could I
sure.
just comment? Do we have a regulation of size of the art in reference to the building that's attached to it?
What? Everything has to come before council, but Nilsa,
So there are not specific regulations on the ordinance. However, yes, it has to come. First, it will go to the advisory board, to the art in public places, and then it will come for final approval to the city council.
Okay, so if something was minuscule or didn't quite meet what we envisioned.
Right, so I mean, there's a whole advisory board that's gonna vet that stuff.
Yes.
And make recommendations for us. I would hope they'd kick back anything
Okay.
that was silly.
Awesome. All right, I just wanted to verify that. Thank you.
Yes.
Anything from PBSO?
Yeah, thank you for the comments. We really appreciate it because it's good to be in a positive light in the public and everything. For your first event, I thought it went really well. Like from what I heard, I wasn't there, but I came from city of Green Acres, and they do one of these every year. So you're right on board. Like waiting a month, you're taking a break, and then start planning in August because this is only going to get bigger out here. Green Acres is done growing. You guys, this whole area is growing, so it's going to be bigger every year. So, and I appreciate the comments, and I pass it on to the guys, and so did Sergeant
Real
Goudreau.
phenomenal job.
And we only had one crime report out of the whole event, and that was a juvenile versus juvenile slapping incident. So it wasn't nothing major. I guess there was some traffic issues, so not issues, but people were trying to like stop and watch the fireworks on Seminole Pratt. So that's something that in our pre-planning for next year we can just go over. But other than that, there was no big issues. And then, yeah, having a lost and found booth would be great. I think the city of Green Acres had something like that. Maybe put a volunteer there, and then that's just somewhere we can bring juveniles to. And then even if people lose stuff as well, they do that at the fairgrounds as well, and it's a good system that works. Other than that, any other questions about anything?
Just you guys are doing an incredible job. Thank
Yeah.
you. Thanks for bringing out the mounted unit
Mm-hmm.
and the SWAT truck. I heard
Yeah.
a bunch of kids were playing in the SWAT truck and
It's good. Yeah, it's really good. And then I'm glad that you got positive feedback from the surrounding communities as well. So
it's been coming in all day.
it's great.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Thank you again.
No problem.
Appreciate you being here.
All right. Thanks.
Any public comments? Any more staff reports? Anyone? No?
Mayor received no previous comment cards. We'll give the virtual audience a moment to raise their virtual hand. If you wish to make a comment, please raise your virtual hand. Please unmute your device, state your name and your address. You have 3 minutes. Mayor, I see no comments.
Let's adjourn at 7:42 p.m.
All right.
Next meeting will be August 2nd.
What is this? It's like